All right, let's just get right into it. Today, we're taking on something that honestly strikes fear into the hearts of a lot of developers. But I promise, by the end of this explainer, you're going to feel totally empowered. We are diving deep into GPU debugging. Our entire goal today is really simple. We're demystifying the process of hunting down bugs in parallel code. We're going to take it step by step, starting with the comfortable, familiar territory of simple print statements, and working our way all the way up to catching those really devious, complex memory traps. You know, the ones that only seem to pop up when you've got thousands of threads running all at once.
So here is our game plan for today. First, we'll look at the basic debugging toolkit. Then, we'll go hunting for out-of-bounds errors. Third, solving race conditions. Fourth, we'll get into stepping with cuda-gdb. And finally, profiling kernel performance.
Okay, let's dive right into Section 1, the Basic Debugging Toolkit. Now, before you immediately reach for a heavy-duty step-by-step debugger, you really need to know what's already sitting in your basic detective kit, because your initial toolkit is actually incredibly robust. Sometimes, something as simple as setting the right environment variables is going to give you the exact clues you need. You also have the good old trusty printf function, which, remarkably enough, works right from inside your GPU kernels. But the real star of the show here, the absolute MVP of the basic toolkit, is the NVIDIA Compute Sanitizer. This tool is literally a lifesaver. It automatically catches out-of-bounds memory accesses across global, local, or shared memory. It catches shared memory race conditions, and it'll even flag uninitialized accesses in global memory. It's basically like having an automated inspector constantly checking your memory handling.
Let's look a little closer at printf. So yes, printf works right inside the GPU kernel, which means each thread can print its local state. But take a close look at the code snippet we have up here. Think about it. If you have thousands of threads printing at the exact same time, your terminal is completely overwhelmed. It's just a wall of text. Notice how the developer here wraps the printf inside an if statement. By making sure the output only happens when block-index.x is 99 and the thread-index.x is somewhere between 16 and 31, they've completely isolated the print output to just one specific area of interest. This is an absolutely crucial technique if you want to keep your print-based debugging actually readable.
Moving right along to Section 2, Hunting Out-of-Bounds Errors.
All right, now that we've got our basic tools, let's head to our first actual crime scene. We're investigating one of the most common GPU issues out there, the classic out-of-bounds memory error. It's detective time, so I want you to look at the badAccess kernel we've got right here. It takes a pointer to data, inside thread index x gets assigned to the integer I, then the thread tries to write the value of I directly to data I plus 10. Down below in main, we allocate 10 integers for D, we launch 32 threads in one block, we synchronize, and then we free the memory. So, looking at that setup, can you spot the bug?
Let's actually break down the math of why this is a complete disaster. Over in Step 1, we only allocated 10 integers. That means our valid array indices are strictly 0 through 9, right? But look at Step 2. We launched 32 threads, numbered 0 through 31. Because the logic in the kernel tells each thread to access index I plus 10, thread 0 is going to write to data 10. Thread 1 writes to data 11. Fast forward to thread 21, and it's trying to write all the way out at data 31. Because our valid indices stop dead at 9, threads 0 through 21 are writing completely out of bounds. They're just trampling all over unallocated memory, which is going to cause a spectacular crash.
All right, on to Section 3, solving race conditions.
So great detective work on the bounds checking. Now we're going to shift our focus from memory boundaries over to parallel collisions. Take a look at these two snippets showing an unsafe int kernel. We've got a shared integer s, it gets assigned the value of the global variable at avad_d. It gets incremented by 1, and then it's written right back to global memory. In the launch context, we're launching one block with 10 threads. Anyone spot the bug here? The major problem is that every single thread in that block is trying to write to the shared variable s concurrently without any synchronization whatsoever. And even worse, they are all writing back to the exact same global variable concurrently without using an atomic operation.
And this breakdown brilliantly illustrates exactly why that concurrent writing is such a disaster. Look at Step 1, all the threads are overwriting s almost simultaneously. There's absolutely no ordering guaranteed here. Moving to Step 2, each thread reads what it thinks is the current value of s, which might actually already be stale, increments it, and then effectively just overwrites and loses the updates made by all the other threads. Finally, in Step 3, they all race to write this potentially stale version of s back into global memory. The final value you end up with isn't just wrong, it's completely non-deterministic. It literally could be a different number every single time you run the code.
So how on earth do we fix this chaos? Well, we bring in synchronization primitives. Think of these as traffic cops for your threads. First up, we use __ sync threads. This forces all the threads to pause and wait until thread 0 has safely finished initializing the shared variable s. If we don't do that, threads might try to access uninitialized memory. Then we drop in an atomic add and atomic add to s1 sync. Because all the threads are updating the exact same shared variable, this atomic operation ensures they have to do it one at a time. It's safe, and they don't overlap and destroy each other's work. Finally, we throw in one last __ sync threads to guarantee everyone is completely finished before thread 0 copies that final result back to global memory.
Okay, let's move to section 4, stepping with cuda-gdb.
So sometimes print statements and the compute sanitizer just aren't quite enough to figure out why a bug is happening. And that's when we have to roll out the heavy machinery. Now, if that sounds intimidating, don't worry. If you are already familiar with standard CPU GDB, you basically already know cuda-gdb. It has all the exact same classic capabilities. The real magic here is that cuda-gdb extends your visibility directly into the NVIDIA GPU hardware. It gives you a set of new specific commands to shift your debugging focus. You can literally just type CUDA and hit Tab, and it'll show you commands that let you select and inspect the current device, the grid, the kernel, block, warp, or even narrow it down to one single individual thread.
Let's actually look at how this works in practice. Here, we're launching a debug session. We use the command set CUDA break on launch application. That tells the debugger to pause the exact moment our kernel starts running. Then, when we type run, the debugger catches the launch of bounds bug add. And notice the output here. It explicitly tells us that it has switched its focus to CUDA kernel 0, grid 1, block 0, thread 0. We can double-check this at any time just by typing CUDA block thread to see exactly where our debugging microscope is currently pointed.
Now for the fun part, the hunt. Look at the commands we're executing here. We are explicitly switching our focus over to block 1, thread 31 by typing CUDA block 100, thread 3100. Let's do the math on what's happening behind the scenes. If our block dimension is 32 and we are in block 1, then thread 31 gives us a global x index of 1 times 32 plus 31, which equals 63. So when we step forward, the code attempts to execute cdx plus 1. That means it's trying to access index 64. If our array is only size 64, meaning our valid indices are just 0 to 63, boom, we've just found our out-of-bounds bug, caught totally red-handed right inside the debugger.
And honestly, the fix for the bug we just tracked down is beautifully simple. We just need to implement proper bounds checking. Before we go and perform the array addition, we just wrap it in an if statement. If x is less than n. It's that easy. This guarantees that a thread is only ever going to attempt to read or write to memory if its calculated index x is safely within our allocated size n.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, Profiling Kernel Performance.
So, now that we actually know how to squash our parallel bugs, let's shift gears to what I like to call preventative medicine. Because in GPU programming, it is not enough for our code to just be bug-free, it has to run fast. It needs to be incredibly efficient. We have to profile our kernel performance. And the NVIDIA Visual Profiler, which comes built right into the CUDA toolkit, is an incredible asset for this. It gives you this unified timeline showing exactly what the CPU and the GPU are doing at any given microsecond. It traces every single CUDA API call, memory transfers, kernel launches, and maps them all out. But the best part, it performs automated performance analysis. It'll actively identify bottlenecks like poor memory utilization or branch divergence, and it even offers you guided suggestions on how to optimize it.
Now, what's really cool about this slide is the visual representation of all that data. Look up at the timeline view at the top. You can visually see the gaps, the actual time spent doing memcopy versus the time spent doing actual compute. If you click on a specific kernel execution, the panel on the right pops open and reveals highly detailed information, things like grid sizes, shared memory usage, and register counts. Down at the bottom, it flags high-level analysis results, literally warning you about things like instruction replay overhead and divergent branches. It is just an absolute goldmine of efficiency data.
However, before you jump right in, I want to give you a highly practical takeaway. You have to make sure you're using the right tool for your specific environment. As this compatibility guide shows, the Legacy Visual Profiler, NVVP, requires a GUI desktop. So, if you are writing your code in a headless environment like Google Colab, for example, you can't use a GUI. Colab users have to rely on the command line tools.
You'll specifically want to use NV-Insight CU-CLI for getting those kernel metrics, or NS/YS for a full system profile.
Now, if you are working locally with a GUI on a modern CUDA toolkit, you're going to be using Insight Compute. This is the modern replacement for the old visual profiler. Notice how this tool provides really interactive profiling, complete with a baseline feature. You can actually save a profile report, go rewrite and optimize your code, run it again, and Insight Compute will show you the exact metric deltas and chart differences side by side. It literally proves to you whether your optimizations actually worked or not.
And for everyone following along in Colab, this is exactly what the Insight CLI output is going to look like in your terminal. Yes, it is entirely text-based, but it is incredibly detailed. Point your attention right down to the warning at the bottom. The profiler is explicitly telling the developer this kernel exhibits low compute throughput and memory bandwidth utilization. And it doesn't leave you hanging. It tells you exactly where to go look next, scheduler statistics and warp state statistics to track down the latency issues. It doesn't just throw raw numbers at you, it actively points you toward the solution.
And that brings us to the end of our debugging journey. We have covered a massive amount of ground in this explainer. You now have a really comprehensive toolkit at your disposal, from deploying strategic printf statements and using the compute sanitizer for automated bounds checking, all the way to using cuda-gdb for surgical step-by-step investigation and Insight for deep analytical profiling. You are officially ready to hunt down any parallel bug that gets in your way. But keep this in mind. We live in a world where parallel computing runs everything from cutting-edge AI to the latest video games, which means unoptimized code is a luxury you simply can't afford. So, what hidden bottlenecks are lurking in your next kernel? And more importantly, do you have the detective skills to expose them? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy coding!